Hello, heroes. Thank you all for tuning in to episode number 30 of the Nexus podcast. As usual, I am your host, Adam Eastwood, and we have our lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Do you really want it? Do you really want it? Go, go, go. Allez, allez, allez. Un, deux, trois. Allez, allez, allez.
Yeah. Every week I'm like, I don't know what David's going to say. It kind of scares me sometimes. We have our Blizzard and eSport enthusiast, Ben Blazik.
Good evening, everyone. How's it doing?
And I'm only saying this pretty much because he wrote it down and I have to read what's on the page. The amazing Joshua Williams.
Just like Ron Burgundy, have to read what's written there.
And we have a special guest, Mr. ETC 2014, BulletCatcher.
So I should have put a question mark after amazing, so it would have made it sound more not real.
Yeah, like the amazing.
Whoa, what was that?
Those are
Home invasion.
Fireworks. Or gnomes coming to get him.
They got through your wall and your turrets.
Yeah, I guess so. Those were fireworks for Bullet. They were like, "Yay, we got Bullet!"
Move your egg.
Right.
Oh man. So we have some questions for Bullet. Real quick. Why don't you kind of let everybody know? Why do you let everybody know a little bit about you? Kind of what you're up to, what you do for fun.
Well, I've been playing Blizzard games since I think 2000-ish, so that's a decent amount of time. Played Warcraft since patch 1.9, so not beginning, but decently towards the start. I've played some League of Legends and such, just never got into it, but this game is different. That's a quick way to put it. Recently, I've just been working and doing greeting stuff with CTR and hoping to get Adam getting his other podcast up and running again, because I was part of the last one, and yeah, things happen.
Mm-hmm. Things do happen. So how is Heroes kind of holding up to your expectations, kind of going in?
Better than I thought, because I was thinking it was going to be League of Legends or Dota 2-ish, and having played those, they're okay, but it didn't hold my interest for a long period of time. But there's just something different about this one. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just the Blizzard characters, I don't know. But it's actually keeping my attention a lot longer than it would in this is alpha with a couple of thousand people in it.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because it's like my next question would have been like, why do you think it's keeping your interest? But you don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain. It's like League of Legends I can play on occasion. It's just same stuff. I think it's just the randomness of the map and the familiar characters more than anything.
Mm-hmm. So kind of speaking of the characters, kind of before you got into the alpha, who did you think was going to be your favorite?
I actually thought it'd either be someone like Hammer or the Demon Hunter, because I've always played rangy caster characters, and since there's no actual mage yet, I figured it'd be something like that. But I'm not overly good with Hammer, and while I like Demon Hunter, it's just not my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know David likes it when you're playing the Demon Hunter, right?
Yeah, the first time I played it, he said, I need a Demon Hunter to come with me. And of course, there's only one Demon Hunter at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess who that happened to be.
You got to be his pocket Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there might have been one or two adult beverages were involved.
Everyone remembers that episode. So you said, you kind of expected Sergeant Hammer and Demon Hunter because they were ranged. Who have you kind of latched on to at this point?
Surprisingly, the one who I thought while watching the trailer at BlizzCon was the stupidest addition, ETC. I really did not like the idea of putting ETC in the game. I wanted it to be like Blizzard characters, not people they made up just because they have a band, and I was wrong.
He is a World of Warcraft character. He is in
But
the
he's
game.
a character who was made because they made a band.
Well, it's actually funny but that's like, then they say something like that at BlizzCon where ETC is almost like the inspiration for Heroes of the Storm, because it's kind of like you see the image and it's like just all of Blizzard, and then ETC was like standing there and being like, oh.
Sergeant Hammer wasn't an actual character in the game either.
True, but it was also the siege tank was.
So was the Tauren.
There's a difference. There's no character outside of ETC that is a Tauren carrying a guitar.
There's no,
Now, if you had
Got
a
a
siege
point.
tank carrying a guitar, that'd be
there's no
pretty awesome.
female siege tank captains.
You don't know
whenever
that.
click
Have you
on
seen
them.
every person who plays a siege tank?
Well, maybe there's Torns that have guitars.
I'm just saying. I think
Electric guitars?
I think they just have a lot of clones who play siege tanks. You know, they just clone it. That's what appears to me whenever I played StarCraft. Every time I click on it, it's the same guy.
Kind of like Clone Wars, how all the clone troopers are the same.
Yes,
Sounds the same and everything.
exactly. But that's what StarCraft is. Just a bunch of clones.
Yeah.
rolling around in different equipment. Okay, so let's gonna get into our weekend gaming. Let's see who wants to go first. David, what have you been up to?
You know, I saw a documentary this week on Costco. And they're talking to the guy who's in charge of Costco, and they ask him, like, how come you don't have like all the different varieties like the other supermarkets? How come you just have 2 or 3 ketchups, for instance? And he said, you know what, if you got too many options, it kind of turns you off of buying any of them. And that's kind of where I feel right now. It's like there's so much stuff. On Saturday night, am I going to play some StarCraft? Should I get back into Diablo? We got Heroes, Hearthstone. Should I be grinding more Valor? And in the end, I just kind of like blow up and just end up watching Sex Sent Me to the ER or something. On TLC. And it's like I'm really in that case where it just feels kind of overwhelming. I mean, I did get a chance to play a little bit of Heroes just to keep myself fresh. I mentioned that last week. And I actually got down my first ever heroic boss in World of Warcraft, Salad Senate, CTR, Airy Peak. Got down to Mercius, now working on Protectors. But yeah, really right now it's just like I don't know where to go. There's so much I want to play, and I just don't have the time.
Mm-hmm. No, I know the feeling. I definitely know that feeling. It's funny. I'm like, where's he going with this? He's talking about Costco.
I'm going to Costco to buy more games that I won't play.
CostCoCast. Josh, what have you been up to?
I'm in the same boat with David there. Steam sales going on. I bought probably 5 or 6 games already. Here I want to play Heroes. I've got WildStar. Play Diablo with my friend. It's so much going on, and what I find myself end up doing is rewatching Parks and Recreation. So I mean, I'm in the same boat. It's hard to pick just one thing to play right now. So I watch something. Something on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
At least you have better TV taste than me, clearly.
Yeah. David, you have the TV taste of my wife. That is what is on 90% of the time.
man. Saturday night.
Yeah, every Saturday I'm on my computer and that's what's on the television. Ben, what have you been playing? I know you're in your travel mode right now.
I probably have the most boring report of anybody here. I haven't been actually playing too much. I've been really, really tired. Like when I leave base at the end of the day, I just get back to the hotel room. I've been finding myself putting World Cup on TV and falling asleep early watching World Cup.
That's why you're going to bed early. You're watching World Cup.
Hey. Played a little bit of Heroes here and there. Been playing a little bit of Mech Warrior Online here and there. And haven't been playing too much WildStar because I'm waiting for my entire guild to catch up because I was the first one to hit 50. So I just been kind of sitting around. I'm ready to be back home. I'm on my 3rd week away from home right now. And I got 1 more to go. So I'm just ready to be back home.
Yeah, I've been away from home for about 2 weeks at a time for stuff like work, and it's tough. I don't envy you at all. Bullet, what's your gaming been like?
Mainly, I've been leveling a couple alts in a while because, like they said, it's so much to do. It's what am I going to do? I still need to finish the campaign of the second StarCraft 2 expansion. I'm halfway through that. Diablo, I have friends playing. I need to catch up Paragon levels, and I am leveling a couple of alts. And that's on whenever I'm not busy watching Power Rangers Turbo right now.
Nice.
So I think my TV choice is somewhere in the middle of those two.
I would argue that, but okay.
Hey, I did watch Game of Thrones, so it gives me a little cred.
Yeah, but so did David. We know David watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I watched Cosmos, Game of Thrones, and Sex Sent Me to the ER.
So at least we have a female on the podcast.
Snaps.
I'll take it. All right, Demon Hunter, bring it on. It's fine.
For me, it's been kind of the norm in terms of Blizzard games. I played a little bit of Heroes. Oddly enough, I got in like a crazy Cursed Hollow string of games, which is good because this week we will be talking about Cursed Hollow. in our battle report. Diablo, I've stopped playing my Crusader a little bit, and I leveled up my Wizard, and I love playing my Ice Wizard, and I've had like all this stuff drop to increase ice damage. It's like they know what I'm doing. It's like they're in my head, and I like it. But then in terms of other games, people are gonna say bug me for not playing this yet, but I never played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. It was just
so good.
Yeah, well, it was just one of those games that like I've played so much Blizzard for so long that I've lost kind of all the other games in there. But with my birthday Amazon gift card, I purchased both of them, and I've been playing a ton of Arkham Asylum. And work's been like, Adam, you seem a little tired today. Baby keeping you up? And I'm like, yeah, my daughter's been waking up a bunch.
Waking up while I'm in the middle of Batman beating people's faces in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I can't believe that I'd missed them. It's just one of those things where, I've been playing World of Warcraft and StarCraft 2 and all this for so long that it was cheaper to play World of Warcraft because it's only $15 a month opposed to buying the games. Funny thing about buying them is it was cheaper for me to buy them separately than as a bundle, because separately they were $20 a piece, but as a bundle they were $45. Don't know how that works, but you could even see on Amazon it said 20, and then added together 45. And I'm like, well, I think I'll buy them separately. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get right into the news. We've not got too much news this week, but a little bit. We have kind of the biggest news this week is the more people are going to be getting into the alpha. Finally, Canadians are going to be invited into the alpha, right, David?
Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
Hey, don't forget the Europeans and Australians.
Yes. What? So you're gonna? It said as early as next week. Now, I think it kind of yes, it's going to be great that we're going to get more people in there. There'll be more people in versus, which means you're going to probably end up fighting people that are more along your level of play when you get in there, because there is that kind of hidden MMR. But what it also means is I will almost guarantee that as soon as they start putting those invites out, we're going to get a wipe and a patch. What do you guys think? Wipe and patch at the same time?
Did they say that they're going to be playing on the same servers as us, or they're going to have their own separate servers?
Well, the North America, granted, like David obviously got in, and a couple other podcasters.
You mean for like when Canada?
Yeah, because they're gonna, Mexico, they're gonna be in the North American servers. I think Australia also plays on our servers, if I'm not mistaken.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, they probably
like Oceanic is still kind of on the North American servers.
Yeah,
they probably will for this because there won't be that many people.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them being a wipe just to kind of give an even playing field for everybody coming in, because that's I'm sure it's going to be probably a couple thousand invites going out right there. So I can see them doing a wipe to kind of give that even playing ground in a sense of everyone being lower level, even though you don't see that stuff unless they add it in a patch before that happens.
Mm-hmm. David, have you gotten like what you wanted to get done before the wipe already, or you think you ready for a wipe, or you think there's more you could do before it gets wiped?
I am totally ready for a wipe, like a bear in the woods. I mean, I'm just like totally there. In fact, when I read about the expansion of Alpha, I was almost disappointed they didn't mention a wipe. I mean, I've reached 40. I've kind of hit like my goals in terms of the various heroes. There's really nobody I want to buy right now with my gold, my Alpha gold, which isn't even real gold, let alone real money. So, well, obviously it's not real gold, but you know what I mean. It's not like lit. It's not.
Did you bite
gold.
it to make sure?
Yeah, exactly. Explain the marks on my monitor. But yeah, I mean, I'm there. I want to kind of get back to the idea of like leveling, through it. Because it does give a little bit of extra motivation. So I'm also kind of really hoping maybe they'll start putting at least experimental ranked play in, just so that even once you hit level, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ben, in terms of, we're probably going to get a patch. We're going to guess that with the patch, we're going to get Zagara. It's been about a month since we've seen Murky, and it seems like about once a month we're getting a hero. Is there anything like that you've seen in-game that you want to make sure gets fixed in the next major patch?
There are minor things that I've seen where your spells don't actually go off when they're supposed to, whether it's you're using smart casting or your manual selection, the spells are not actually taking effect on their targets when you're highlighting a target. So I'm hoping that somebody on the dev team has been paying attention to that and that they slightly fix it. I mean, it's not like huge every time, but it does happen nonetheless. So I'm hoping that they kind of fix that, and then just I know people are going to hate this, but I still want cross-team chat.
I would get banned by now if that was available.
Now, Ben, have you gone onto the forums and let them know that's what you want, or have you kind of just been keeping it quiet and making hints on our show so we, obviously they listen to us and make changes based on what we say. So
you guys are one of the first, actually the first podcast, so of course they listen to you.
I've been keeping my mouth shut on the forums regarding that topic because I don't feel like getting into a war with other people about it. Mm-hmm. Because if I were to make a post, I know people are going to attack it, and I don't feel like defending the post right now. So,
Good call.
Waiting for the right time to strike.
Pretty much. I just want to compete with other teams. That's all I want. I don't care about the whole. I mean, it's nice that it's there, but I don't really care about the whole leveling incentive. I mean, it's an arena combat game when you come down to the basics of it, and I just want to play other teams and compete.
Mm-hmm. So you're really hoping on a ranked play or some form. You're kind of
ranked would be nice, and if not, at least let us do the custom games again, so we can do small custom leagues, so that way we can beat the living crap out of each other.
Yeah, I mean, we had that one game against CostCoCast, and that was so much fun. Like you knew who you were playing against. You could jump into Skype or whatever afterwards and talk trash. it was a good time. Actually, I was in both chats at the same time trying to communicate what we were up to. So it was fun between games, is talking trash for us.
Well, it was fun for our side.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're not a group of chicken sandwiches.
Aren't we we're gonna need now with European players, we need sandwich de poulet or something like that.
No idea what that is.
PFK. It's poulet de Kentucky, chicken de Kentucky or something like that.
Okay, America's hat. Speak English.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Ben. I've had you on ignore for a couple episodes since you suggested cross.
Sorry, he couldn't hear you over his maple syrup.
Now, Bullet, anything in particular that you want to see in either a patch or the wipe?
I would like to see some more hero balancing. Maybe, a bunch of a marching of some sort being interruptible or something of that sort. March of Murlocs. But I just want to see some more of the hero tuning, because there are some that are still overpowered and some that could be bumped up a notch or two. I mean, that's the main thing I'd like to see. And maybe some new bundles. I want them to bring the old original bundles back. Those would be nice.
Yes.
Get a mount as well as a couple skins.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because if they're gonna wipe me and refund everything, I want the bundles that were very cost effective.
Worthwhile.
Do any of you guys think there's any heroes out there that still need a full revamp, kind of like what they did with Tyrael and Illidan?
Other than Murky?
Other than Murky.
I was going to say that.
I was going to say everybody thinks Murky needs a revamp. So
potentially Sonya, because I go on Reddit a lot, and that's one of the characters that people seem to be completely underwhelmed with. Mm-hmm. She's a warrior who can't tank for the most part, unless you spec just the right way. So I could see her being one to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not really a threat. Anytime I see a Sonya come across the field, and I'm running along, I'm oh, whatever, you're there.
If you can sidestep her first attack, she's done, because her rage won't build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've Sonya comes into, say I'm in the middle lane as Tyrael, and I see I'm going up against Sonya. I'm I got this, guys. I'm not worried at all. Everybody else, I'm it depends on how well the other player plays, and I would agree. Sonya just doesn't have the kit needed to fulfill her role, kind of like Tyrael did, or didn't, a little over a month ago. And they've definitely shown that they're willing to kind of work with the heroes and change them around, especially this initial batch, and make the changes that need to be made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to getting my lanyard. Honestly, I want my level 40 lanyard.
They never said anything about a lanyard this time. No, they could have been a one-time thing.
They never said it the last time, but I really want one. This is me begging to get one.
You
You
got
have
two.
two.
No, but it's a different lanyard. I want every Heroes of the Storm lanyard that gets made.
Are you sure? Because I saw a picture of it on Twitter from somebody that already got theirs, and it's the same one.
Somebody told me it was different. I hope they weren't lying to me.
It looked exactly the same as the one that you had.
Oh man.
Unless, I'm going blind.
Unless it says
so-
maybe it says like level 40 on it.
I did not see a level 40 on that.
Maybe
but
they should
okay.
make me like a gold medal. Then.
It's okay, Adam. You'll pay the iron price for it. It's a lanyard you earned.
Yeah. Well, then I get we get put onto they have the Hall of Fame too. So.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger haul now, though. I
Yeah,
think
a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a lot longer period of time between wipes this time.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Are they going to just kind of give the static 30,000 gold again when they do the wipe, or do you think they're going to give more for people who had more to begin with? Like if you had 30,000 the last time, we're going to give you 60,000. Basically, add it.
I think if they're going to do it, they're just going to do probably the exact same thing they did last time when it comes to the amount of gold, because when you're starting at level 1, do you really need 60,000 to buy every character and nothing to build towards?
Yes.
But then you're going to be in the same boat you're in now, where you can buy almost everything, and then you have money and nothing to spend it on.
Yeah, but I like being heroes rich. Like if I just picture myself like swimming through coins.
Oh, okay, Scrooge.
Is Adam and I the only ones with all the characters unlocked?
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
I've got almost all of them. There's a couple that I chose not to buy just because I know that I won't play them. But
So.
I think it's quite possible we may end up with less, actually, than last time. It seemed like a lot. The 30,000 gold seemed like a whole lot last time, especially if you had just hit like level 11 or something. I remember I ended up with more gold than I'd actually spent at that point in the game.
Yeah, I hadn't spent any, and I got a ton.
Yeah, like I didn't. It seemed like almost too much, but that's a very unpopular, point, and I take it back immediately.
Yeah.
No, David, less is more. Less is more.
We haven't got any bad iTunes reviews, and now that David's telling Blizzard to give us less gold, it's gonna be like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Less gold. Psh.
well, my opinion would be that we get no gold back.
Oh,
And why is that?
I mean, a true wipe, we should reset and start all over, with the exception of real money.
I can see that for beta, going into beta and going into launch, but for alpha wipes and stuff, it helps you get characters back so you can keep testing them, especially if there's big character changes.
you know what? I'm going to jump in. I agree with Ben. I think actually maybe that we should have none. I know this is like a momentous thing. I mean, I think because and you know what it is, and this is totally against my own self-interest, but I think that's a big reward for the people who have actually paid real money. Is it really fair that the people who paid real money end up with really just a few more heroes than I'm going to have because I'm going to get all this in-game gold? I think
Adam would
think
be the one
that
to
should be
ask.
the way it goes.
Oh no, Josh would be the one to ask about that. I think Josh has hit the limit.
Yeah, like we
Probably
got to
close.
struggle, we got to get back. Josh has got the Lamborghini, he's got the Cristal going and everything like that. It's all right. He's got all his heroes because you've earned it. You're paying for the salaries of the people who are making the game that I'm playing for free.
Yep. I think Bullet had a good idea. I think since it's the alpha phase, they should give the gold so they can test the heroes faster. But once it gets into like beta stages, then I can see them not giving you any gold for that stuff. But since it still does the technical alpha, I think giving players access to the characters faster would be a good priority for them, so they can test the balance, keep an eye out for the balance.
Play more games.
Play more games.
Yeah, but I mean, it helps them move the alpha along faster.
I don't know. It's Blizzard. They're gonna be done when they're gonna be done.
This is true as
I
well.
don't
Yeah.
think we're getting a full release of this game for at least for another year. Because I
Hard to tell.
don't think we get beta until BlizzCon.
Let's aim for December 20th. Oh, wait.
I don't see Warlords this year.
No, Warlords
seems-
better be this year. Anyways,
It can be by
Absolutely.
December 20th, but neither here nor there.
yeah. Let's not get on the.
That's going to cause a fight, I think.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get it by June, but. Anyways,
I
in
thought
other
September.
in other hero news, there is officially going to be an official, I guess, Heroes of the Storm headset by, of course, I forget the name. Was it Steel
Turtle
Series?
Beach.
Turtle Beach.
No,
I'm so used to Blizzard going with either like Steel Series or
Razor.
or Razor, that it kind of threw me off when I saw that Turtle Beach is going to be getting it. It says it's licensed. I don't know if we know exactly what it's going to look like. I didn't see any images.
There's a picture. I have to look it up real fast.
I remember seeing somewhere, not in this announcement that you're talking about, but I saw somewhere a little while ago, so I've heard about this before, that there's potential that if you buy the Turtle Beach headset, that you'll get a character skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the news is from like April, and I don't know how I didn't see it until now. I guess it was just me not really looking other than Blizzard's website. I started looking elsewhere for Heroes news because it's been a little light. But it's pretty cool. I just got a new headset in December, so this one will last me about 2 years because that's like the average headset lifetime for me. So as long as they still have it in like December of 2015, that might be my next choice, just so that way I can have the Heroes headset. Maybe Blizzard wants to give us free ones at BlizzCon that we can win or something. That'd be fun. You guys think you're gonna buy them when you need new headsets? You guys use Turtle Beach before?
I've had this headset for a while. I think it actually is a Turtle Beach, so I'd probably get that one. This one was designed for Xbox, but it's usable for anything. But yeah, so I'd probably get it because I've had this I think 2-3 years already.
There, I posted it in the chat room. The headset.
I blew through 2 Turtle Beach headsets in the course of 5 years, and now I'm using Razors. I mean, depends on like its actual appearance. I loved the headsets that they did with Razor and Steel Series, but I can't honestly say if I would buy it or not.
I don't remember. Is this supposed to have a mic with it too, or is it just the headset? Because I think I've read both.
They'll probably have 2 versions, because I see the picture without the mic. It just says here's a storm on the sides, and then
the symbol.
It looks pretty cool. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I don't know if it would actually violate my not paying real money for skins rule, but
you didn't.
I mean,
you
yeah,
didn't pay for the skin. You paid for a piece of equipment that happened to give you a bonus.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty strict and orthodox on my rules.
Well,
I'd be playing Reaper of Souls right now if they didn't give you a hero with it. No, I'm just joking. I got too many games anyway.
I think you missed that anyway.
Yeah, I think I missed that boat. No, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I think I'd get it. I don't need one right now, but next time I need to get a headset, I would definitely pick that up. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I just got the Razer 7.1 headset, so I'm good for a while.
Yeah, I used to have the World of Warcraft one where it had the light up on the side, and you could put either your class or your legions, either Horde or Alliance on it. The only problem is that I had 2 of them break within 2 years, so they replaced the first one because I gave them a hard time, and then the second one they were like, sorry.
Did you get the little foot pedal for the push to talk mic?
No, I didn't. I was thinking about it, but as
I wanted that so bad.
So
there goes our Turtle Beach sponsorship.
Looking in
no. It wasn't Turtle Beach that had the last headset.
Oh, okay.
So if Turtle Beach wants to sponsor us, I will talk good things about it all the time, even if it breaks.
Looking at what Brilliant posted, it's actually going to be $80 and the mic is removable.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
I wish my mic was removable.
I saw there's wired. There's wired.
Especially in a Black Shark.
Black Shark?
Razor Black Shark, you can pull the mic off.
Oh.
About these headsets, there's going to be 3 models. One's a surround sound that's wired, and then there's a wireless one, and then there's this stereo that's wired headset too. So that's pretty cool. Full surround sound ones of these ones.
Okay, I think that kind of does it for our news this week. We're hoping next week we get some news, maybe patch, wipe, who knows. I'm crossing my fingers. I want Zagara to come out, and really, next week is the last week of the month, and June hasn't had a new hero, so this is my prediction: it's got to happen this week.
I can see that.
So
hopefully the skins don't count.
So we're gonna kind of go to our From the Forum segment of our show, where I kind of went to the forums, found a couple discussions, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. One thing I saw that people were complaining about is the fact that towers, all the structures, they don't get cloak detection. They're complaining that Nova and Zeratul can just go behind enemy lines. One thing is find Murky's egg and kill him, or attack the base or take out groups of minions. Let's go with Josh. What do you think? Do you think that the ability to detect cloaked heroes should be there for structures?
I do, but I've also just realized like a week or two ago that they don't detect stealth. I've always thought that they do. They did, because of other games, formed me to believe in that stuff. But I mean, it's nice to have it, but at the same time, I think it should have it. But with one character, you can't really do too much damage to them without having to run away for a while, unless you're Nova and you go in and do your snipe and then run and hide and come back and do your snipe. And just a little tactic like Murky does with his stupid little blowfish. It's a give and take for me. I can see both reasons of why they should have it and why they shouldn't, honestly. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, answered that one.
Ben, what are your thoughts?
Probably should have it. I mean, as it is right now, we don't lean on towers and forts as much as we do in other games like Dota or League of Legends. They're a lot more stronger in those games and a lot more durable. In situations in these games, sometimes you can be up against maybe a single tower and you're trying to wait for the next wave of minions to come by, and then all of a sudden a stealth character jumps right on top of you and nukes you. If the tower would have seen that character coming in, it would have probably prevented that attack, or at least given you some type of buffer. As it is right now, I mean, it really depends on the situation, but because the towers and the forts are really squishy, I feel like there should be a little bit more of a buffer there to help.
Mm-hmm. So, Bullet, David, either of you guys think that it should remain as is?
Yes, I do. I don't know. To me, from a lore perspective, I'm not sure why some red shirt in the tower should have an ability that like the Lich King doesn't. I don't. If the heroes can't detect you, I don't know why those guys should. And second of all, I don't think there's a whole lot of heroes that like really can push while they stay cloaked.
Yeah, there's 3 that can even cloak, right? Nova, Zeratul, and Hammer if you spec it. And Hammer, you can actually make it so you're not even... Doesn't matter if you're cloaked or not. For that first attack, you can still hit from the distance.
Yeah, but if you're a Hammer, you're kind of stuck there for a while, right? And then it's gonna...
Depending.
You can't do a lot of damage to it.
I don't think it's game-breaking to do it because like there's only 2 characters who could legitimately get in there and do anything. And they're not going to be able to like destroy a fort by themselves unless there's a curse going on or something else going on at the same time. So it's more so people complaining because someone can get behind and kill Murky's egg when that should be neither here nor there.
No,
but that's the case right now, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see more assassin cloaks in the future.
Well, eventually. But if you also think about it, there's so many ways. Like almost every map, you can get behind the gate without even triggering it anyway. So it's not going to kill it. Almost every map has behind that first gate. There's that straight doorway in that you can attack from the side. So it's anybody can go in and do it. It's just you can't sneak in outside of the grass.
Mm-hmm. Now, Bullet, do you think that they should keep them so that way they don't see the cloak, or do you think they should see the cloak because it doesn't matter?
I think they might as well just make it so they can't see it still because it's not really affecting anything. I mean, if they end up adding more like classes even in beta where it starts being an issue, then that's something. But with the way it is right now, it's not hurting anything.
Now, Ben, do you think that as long as they keep kind of the permanent cloak abilities, you have Murky who is cloaked like if you take the right talent, and you have Sergeant Hammer who can cloak if you take the right talent. Do you think if they keep the permanent cloak abilities to assassins, that might be a reason why, like maybe in the opposite, they keep it so they can't get them because once they see them, they're assassins, so they don't have a lot of health. They don't really survive as easy as, say, if a warrior were to have like permanent cloak right from the beginning of the match.
My whole opinion on the matter is not so much doing any damage to the towers or forts. I could care less about that. It has to do more so with the players relying on defense mechanics. So, at the early game, when the game starts and we're in our lanes, for the most part, we're right up against our towers and we go out into the lane, we engage. If we take an excessive amount of damage, we retreat behind the wall, hit the fountain, and we have at least a small amount of buffer with the towers and the walls because most people aren't going to jump over that wall at level 2. because of the fact that they can't detect stealth units and we can get behind the base, it makes it very easy for Nova and Zeratul right now, until the future release of new champions, to get behind and just pick off champions. They can get right on top of you, kill you, and then they can leave, as opposed to other games. They will start taking damage coming in, so it's more of a deterrent that keeps you safe. So at this point, it's like, if the turrets can't see stealth units and we bring in more stealth units into the game that have the permacloak, what real good is the walls and forts doing us during the early game? They might as well take them away and make the map even smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Is the problem then not? I mean, to me, it sounds almost like the problem is why are we able to get in there then? Like,
Yeah, that's the bigger issue than the stealth thing, because if you can backdoor it anyway, as ETC, I can backdoor into someone's running with low life, run through and hit them. It's just because with the grass right there, you're stealth up until that moment you jump out of the grass.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, it's not just Heroes of the Storm, though, that you can kind of get behind the initial, set of towers. In League of Legends, you can get there as well. It's just, I feel like the damage on the towers is a lot more in those other games.
It is a lot more, and if you
it's a little
attack a
more
hero
challenging.
within the range of the tower immediately turns to you instead of minions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that little difference. But at the low-level game like he's talking about, at level 2, you respawn, 2 seconds, and the team gets a little buff of experience.
Mm-hmm.
At low levels, at level 15, that's a big issue. At level 2, it's an inconvenience at best.
Mm-hmm. Now, for me, the reason I don't want to see it get taken away, I want them to stay, uncloak detecting, is, you have that like kind of late game strategy with Nova and Zeratul, where, if you're able to, sneak your way in and attack the palace, you can actually do some decent damage to the palace. It's it kind of keeps the other team honest, where they have to defend their tower, because otherwise a Zeratul or Nova is going to jump in there and really, deal some decent damage to them, get out, and be able to come back and forth. It's almost like they're the only people who can harass the palace, similar to Murky. Now, not even closer as well as Murky, because right now he's the best, sieger in the game. But it gives you that kind of late game pressure that I think if you take it away, you're taking away kind of almost like I think a key end of game mechanic for the cloaked heroes.
all this cloak talk just makes me really want them to put Garona in the game. Because I think the whole idea of having her go behind lines and take out the palace feels very Warcraft 1. I like it.
Yeah, you go behind the lines and kill the king.
That's how Stormwind went down.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I don't know if I want it to be gone at all. Like, I like it as it is, but if it creates an issue in more competitive play, I think that's where we're going to see a change actually happen. Because that I find in League of Legends stuff, a ton of stuff can happen in just fun or even like low end rank. Once it becomes an issue in competitive play, that's where you start to see the changes being made to just core mechanics like Cloak.
I mean, if you're already seeing it in versus now, you're definitely going to see it in competitive. An example of this, I've seen it a bunch, is Zeratul is the most strong example right now because he is capable of dealing so much damage rapidly as soon as he attacks. He'll go behind the base because you can slip in behind the first set of fort and go up. If a champion retreats behind the wall and they're at, like, let's say just spitball half health, right? Mm-hmm. They touch the fountain, you still got to wait a little bit of time to restore your health. And they're sitting right there. The forts and the towers don't do enough damage right now to be a threat. So if we're at like level 8 or 9 and he runs back there, he can nuke you instantly and then blink out. And then no harm to, he's going to live. There's no way he's going to die to that unless 3 people come out of nowhere and stun lock him. So, I mean, that's just Zeratul right now. We're not, the whole skew of champions that can come out with Permacloak and the fact that towers can't do anything until he comes out of Cloak. Essentially, you're almost defenseless depending on your team makeup and who's doing what lanes. If you're doing a 1-3-1 or if you're doing the traditional 2-1-2,
Do you think maybe something kind of like a middle ground where towers do like a small pulse around them, so you could actually just get into the tower and they'd have to be closer to you? So maybe they don't get their full range of detection for attacks, but there's a smaller kind of vision range that they have. You think that might be a good option? So you can hide literally under your tower, and then he'd have to come close enough to get hit by the tower.
It'd be interesting to see, but the only problem with that is like you'd have to anticipate every time they're going to do that. So essentially, you'd have to be playing on your heels instead of on your toes. So
what about increasing like fort and tower damage some?
Yeah.
Because like you said, you can take quite
that would
a few
help a
hits and
little
it doesn't
bit,
do
but
anything.
with Zeratul, as soon as he comes out of
very
cloak, you're
quick.
dead.
It could be.
It's not going to be him sitting there attacking you for a few seconds. He's going to initiate a burst combo, kill you, and then all he's got to do is blink away.
Yeah.
So increasing the damage could help a little bit, but it's probably not going to kill him unless somebody flies out of somewhere with a stun, or you manage to get a stun off in like a half a sec.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, we'll see when more heroes come out. It's almost like it might be an issue where Zeratul's just too powerful, especially early game. Because I know Nova, like, I don't think you can kill someone that quick with Nova. Like,
not easily. It's a mixture of the closest you can at low level is if you have Envenom and have her low enough to hit that and they can't heal up in time.
yeah.
That's not even an instant kill. That's over time.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like if they tuned it to the point where, like, where the towers and you would almost, it has to be a trade unless the Zeratul is like the best Zeratul out there, then maybe it'd be worth it. So they're like actually, they're risking the trade. In other words,
I've seen a bunch of good Zeratools do it already.
Mm-hmm.
So I just mean like if they leave it as is, you're going to see a lot of it get abused in competitive play because essentially the first set of towers and forts are not safe. I mean, granted, you're not supposed to really be safe almost anywhere on the map, but it kind of, at least in my mind, for the sake of having them there, it almost eliminates part of the purpose of having that whole setup with the fountain, the towers, and the gate where you're not supposed to be able to pass through unless you're using special abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of eliminates the purpose of having that safe zone because an assassin can just run right behind it, nuke you, and then get out with no problems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe the solution be not necessarily, maybe just make Zeratul not so strong face to face. Like, I mean, I kind of like the idea of this hero being someone like, no one is safe anywhere because he's like, the sneaky assassin. And so maybe instead of kind of nerfing that ability, because it's kind of unique and I think it's kind of cool and it would maybe change the way you think about the game knowing he's out there, is that maybe you just also reduce him maybe a little bit so that he can't, jump into the, Dragon Shrine and just duke it out kind of thing. Like you really have to pick your spots kind of thing. You make him really like an assassin. He gets in, gets out really quick, but like he can't go toe to toe with anyone.
Sure.
I mean, it really comes down to the composition of who he's facing. Because I mean, there are instances where he can die. Like if a really good Tychus is paying attention and sees the glimmer coming in, all he's got to do is throw the grenade, and then it'll knock him away, and he could probably knock him into a tower at that point. But it really depends on who he's facing. So I mean, there's still that whole assassin aspect where he has to really pick and choose his targets. But there are a lot of targets or heroes that won't be able to respond to him quickly like that.
Yeah, heroes who don't have like AoE attack or, a hero with AoE attack is probably the safest. If I think a good example would be like Uther. I think Uther might be the safest of anybody, as he has an AoE attack, he has a heal, and he has a stun. So that's pretty much how you get rid of Zeratul. You get it so the towers would find him, you stun him in place, and then you heal yourself when he tries to do something bad to you. But we're going to go ahead and move on. We have one more other topic. I don't think it's one that we're going to talk about too much, but it's something I saw. Just kind of our kind of reaction right now to the death timers, how long they last. We'll start with Bullet. You're our guest here today. What do you think of the timers? Do you think they're too long at this point? You think they're about right?
I think at a certain point in the middle, they ramped up a little too much. Like it's somewhere between level 10 and 15. It jumps. Even seems to me it jumps up. Maybe it's because I don't die a lot during that stage, but it seems to go from like 2, 5, 10 seconds ish, then almost like 45. So maybe it needs to be a slower ramp up in those middle levels. But really, at the end of the game, if you die, it's supposed to be a penalty. It's not supposed to be, oh, I'm back, unless you talent it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think in game or beginning game it's bad. I just think that middle game it needs to be tuned a little better.
Mm-hmm. Ben, what are your thoughts? You think it's too much, too little, or just right?
I don't really have any complaints. I mean, if anything, a few seconds here and there, that's all part of balancing. I don't really have any complaints. As Bullet said, if you die, you're supposed to be punished for it, especially in the late game. If you screw up a crucial team fight and you die, you should be punished for it. And, game winning situations right there.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and I know one thing that I think David says a lot when we're playing games is always feels like the opponent knows when to get out and just barely not die, where we can't. So it's like you get that penalty. David, do you think more heroes should have the option to get that auto res at level 20? Maybe that would help out a little bit, because I know there's only like a handful of people who can auto res right now.
Mainly tanks, I think, too.
Tanks Illidan can do it too. Gazlo has the option to do it. So, David, what do you think?
I think the easiest fix is that our opponents should be 15 seconds longer and we should be 15 seconds less. I think that would definitely be the best fix for it.
But what happens if
in
you
all-
and
in
the
all-
opposite teams playing each other?
Well, then I die. It's less for me and more for you. But in all seriousness, no, I don't think so. I think like if having it kind of for specific heroes is, that's kind of if it adds to the flavor of that hero that they resurrect faster. I think that adds flavor to it. I honestly, this is not something I think is too much of an issue with the game. Sometimes it feels too long, sometimes it feels too short, and I think, in all jokingness aside, it's probably just, perspective, because I'm the one who's dead versus the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
But so in that sense, I think it probably, if I'm equally kind of whining about either side of it, it probably means it's about right.
Mm-hmm. And last, Josh, what do you think? Anything?
I think it's fine the way it is. The only thing I complain about with it is whenever I'm doing really well and I don't die till maybe late game one time, and I gotta wait 60 seconds for my first death. I always like the idea of it gradually increasing your time of respawn depending on how much you die. But that's a small little thing that won't happen. So other than that, it's fine the way it is with me.
Mm-hmm. No, I know exactly what you're saying. You're having like an excellent game. You die once, and you feel like that's the death that like ruins the game for your team. Because by the time you die, you're dead for 45 seconds. Like you said, it almost feels like there should be a little more of a, like maybe like 50% of your respawn timer is based on when the game is, and the other is based on how many times you died. But then you run into the problem where it's going to snowball. It's almost like maybe it's something like 15 seconds of it max can be from the number of times you die, and at some point it just caps out at 15 seconds. And have something where it's like 1 to 5 deaths is what really jumps at 3 seconds each time, something along those lines. So at least you get a bonus in terms of that when you're not dying. I like how certain characters just have they kind of built into their kit that they don't die for as long. Like I like how Tyrael kind of, based on the number of people he explodes on, he can almost have an instant timer if you group him up fast enough. And Diablo, if he has 100 of the souls, he comes back right away. That really fits with Diablo, always coming back. You think he's dead for good, but guess what? he's hiding behind that corner for you right away.
You should come back in the new cool model though, instead of the goofy
Inside the
Halloween
mysterious
costume
stranger.
model.
Oh man, that'd be a cool, like, I don't know, like it'd almost be a vanity item, I would think, where every time you die as Diablo, you come back as a different skin that you own.
Diablo 2 and then Diablo 3.
Yeah, or like Kaiju Diablo or Mercablo. You just a different skin randomly gets chosen. That'd be cool. Some vanity items for characters in the game that you can turn on and off. That'd be something to like, say, hey, we want this to be added on if you get 100 wins or 100 games played with this character.
What about leveraging the death timer? Like, instead of this crappy catch-up mechanic that I don't like currently that they've put in, like, is there more opportunity maybe to leverage the death timers, whereas it doesn't take as long for you to come back? Like, there's not as much of a maximum separation of levels, but if you are a few levels back, you can come back faster, and then that gives you a little bit of an advantage. On the other hand, if you really do suck, then gives the other team a chance to kill you even more.
That's a tough thing to say, because it's like you almost feel either way. I guess you're punishing the people who are ahead, but it almost feels like if you're letting the other people res faster and you're resing slower because you're doing better, almost feels like you're getting straight up punished by rezzing slower. You know,
You're punished because you're doing good.
yeah. Where the other way, yes, you're getting punished because the other team's better, but they're getting stronger. Or their I don't know, like their XP is better. I don't know. It almost feels like you're getting punished because you're doing good with it when it comes to the res timer.
Yeah, it was just the thought. And plus, I mean, the other challenge to that would be if you've got someone on your team who really sucks, it's just going to make him die all the more. But, feeder's got to feed.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into our battle report. This week I don't have a sounder. I'm going to be working on some sounders over the next week. Like Bullet said before the show, we're going to go from our alpha to our beta version of the show and have like good sounders for all the extra stuff we've added since the show started. So our battle report is basically where we take one of the maps and we kind of go in depth on it. We kind of talk about what is up with the map, how you're going to win in the map, some hints with the map, and then each of us kind of pick 2 heroes that we're going to kind of guide you through a little bit and let you know the best way to play that hero on the map. So this week we are going to go over the Cursed Hollow. Oddly enough, I picked this one because it is kind of like one of my least favorites, so I kind of wanted to get it out of the way. Like the other ones I really like. I think I've let people know that many times in the show that of the 4, this is kind of my least favorite. Ben, why don't you let everybody know kind of what the objective for Cursed Hollow? I'm sure a lot of people know we have talked about it, but kind of the official, the Nexus podcast objective of it.
So the overall objective of Cursed Hollow is to win, right? Okay, fine,
Yes,
whatever.
it is to win.
So generally the map is centered around, it has a more traditional kind of AOS style play to it, with the exception of tributes. As the time progresses in the map, the Raven Lord drops tributes on the map, and you have to fight over the tributes. First team to collect 3 tributes, curse spawns, and the enemy team's turrets do not shoot. Their minions' health is reduced to 1 HP, and it's like a little bit over a minute countdown, and it's pretty much a massive swing if the enemy team takes full advantage of the curse. Typically, a lot of strategies going into this map are like skipping the first tribute and just kind of putting pressure in the lanes and stuff like that, but we've seen a lot of different crazy things on the map and so on. It's actually one of my favorites, but nobody else seems to like it, so I guess I'm all alone in this corner.
There's one strategy out there that if you're working as a team and you kind of build your team properly, I've seen it work well. However, if you don't build your team to go with this strategy, it's a big flop. So you really want to be in a team environment where you're talking to everybody, and that's where you actually put 3 people in the middle. I actually really like this strategy. The reason why it kind of works really well is if you have 3 people in the middle, those 3 people are easier to react to when the tributes get put up. It doesn't matter if they're top or bottom. You have 3 people ready to go there, plus the one that's already in the top or bottom lane. I find that it works well when you kind of talk it out, because too often you have 2 people up top, the bottom lane gets it, and only one person comes down. You don't really get both people, and they're delayed getting down because it is quite the trek. Have any of you guys kind of practiced that strategy at all, or do you find you really get the 2-1-2 a lot because of everyone's familiarity with that kind of lane dynamic?
I've run into a 1-1-1-1-1 where we had 2 people doing their own thing, whatever they wanted, and didn't help at all, and we got stomped. But the other thing to remember in this is that if you get 3 tributes when it resets, the other team, however many tributes they had, they still have. So if they already had 2, you need to be careful of that next one because you might be getting cursed right back.
Yeah, and another kind of hint when it comes to mercenary camps, it's good to try and time your mercenary camps to when you're going to get the tribute, like the 3rd tribute. So if you can take a mercenary camp and then get to the tribute and take it, that is probably the best you can do, because you don't have towers attacking your mercs. Plus the pressure you're putting on allows those mercenary camps sometimes to go completely unattested because your enemy's more worried about you than they are the mercenary camp. So
Or if you see that you're about to get cursed, take the mercenaries then. That way they're not being used against you.
Right. Yep. So there's always like the yes. Any other kind of just general battleground tips from any of you guys?
Please don't be a meta sheep from one of the other MOBAs and watch people do this on streams and then try to instantly replicate it. The 1-3-1 strat is really good, but as Adam said, it needs to be executed in a proper team composition. Don't just go into a random versus game and say, all right, guys, we're going to do 1-3-1. Everybody just fan out and do it. You have to really pay attention to who the ones are going to their separate lanes because it doesn't work for every champion composition. I know I did it as Uther one time, and they were like, oh, Uther, go bottom lane. And I'm like, what? And I was bottom lane versus a Witch Doctor and a Nova. Yeah, I didn't win that fight.
No.
So you got to be really careful. Don't, just be like the standard LOL players who are all about the current meta and don't think outside the box. You got to be really flexible.
Mm-hmm. And you have to, if you go in expecting to do the 1-3-1, be ready to change it and move around, because if the other team doesn't do it, or if your top lane just can't handle what they have there, you have to be able to throw someone up there quick. Yeah. So be flexible when it comes to that as well. If you're rigid, you're just going to fall. I find that if you're going to do it that way, specialists are a little tough. You want to make sure you only have one of them, because they're going to have to be in the middle lane, especially if they want to roam at all, because you don't want to put them in their own lane because they want to go and grab merc camps or whatever. It's going to, your team's going to suffer as a whole because now you don't have anybody in that lane. So with that, we're going to kind of move into our hero hints, kind of give you an idea of what to do. David, we'll start with you, the Witch Doctor. What are your hints and tricks to playing the Witch Doctor on Cursed Hollow?
Well, the Witch Doctor, I mean, this is actually a pretty fun map for Witch Doctor because of the fights that you have around the tributes. Be careful with your ring of zombies. It's fun. Everyone's laughing at me because I'm, pretty free and open with them. I mean, sure, sometimes I do the old Thunderdome 2 men in, 1 man out, where I'm just going to trap one of my teammates in with one of their guys.
And actually, sometimes he does the 1 man in, no one else on, and you're the teammate trapped.
Yeah, exactly.
But then again, he's done that to me in Blackwater too.
It does happen from time to time. Gotta be. My zombies are a little bit out of my control, like Daenerys' dragons. But in all seriousness, I mean, this is something where you can use them to isolate, especially in those big team fights. You can isolate a couple of people away. They can't get away, and a lot of their teammates may be running away. If you've got the upper hand, you can trap a couple of them and just pick them off. This is one of the only maps where I sometimes use Ravenous Spirit instead of Gargantuan. I do find that if we are if I'm feeling like we're winning the fight, I'll choose Gargantuan as my level 10 because it can just melt through when they're cursed. If I feel like we need a little bit more oomph in the team fights, I will pull up Ravenous Spirit because that is, especially when they're all clumped together in the team fights, you can really do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. Okay, ETC. A.K.A. Bullet. What hints do you have for ETC for people?
Well, it's really depending on your playstyle, because his 2 ultimates are either going to stun the whole team briefly or help you get to that tribute faster to help cap, because it really depends on if you're going to be with your team a lot to do his big stun that he can do that lasts a second and a half. I like using Stage Dive, though, where I can be in the bottom lane and the tribute's up top. I'm one of the first ones there, especially if there's a big team fight going on somewhere else. I can go and steal that tribute and get out before anyone else shows up. Mm-hmm. I use Stage Dive a lot more than it seems a lot of people do because everyone likes that stun. I just like the mobility of being able to move like Falstad. Mm-hmm. It's a longer cooldown, but you can jump in and get back out really fast.
Mm-hmm. Now, mentioning kind of getting there first actually made me think of another kind of just general battleground, and I'm going to throw it in here just to make sure we say it. When the tribute is spawning, don't always stand right on the tribute where it's going to be spawning, because the other team is probably ready to attack whoever's on the tribute. If you hide in the bushes and wait for the other team to go out first, sometimes that's a better option. It might be very obvious, but for some new people, that's something maybe they didn't even thought about.
And also with the Stage Dive, you can, if you need to, you can wait a minute longer to see is the person I'm fighting against going to it, because if they're not, you can stay until your team needs you. Then you can just hop there immediately to help get that final kill and the extra help that no one else could provide because everyone was there to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Josh, you've played a little bit of Falstad. Why don't you let people know what you do with Falstad when in Cursed Hollow?
Well, I always take his ability when I get to it. It's like what level is it? I'm trying to remember. To increase level 7, it's a cooldown for the flight is reduced by 20 seconds. That way, you can easily uh, move across the map and get to the tributes, get health, get back to the tribute, that kind of stuff. Um, and then I also do AoE builds with him where I increase his normal lightning attacks, and his hammer that goes out. Decrease that stuff just because once someone who's trying to get the tribute gets hit once, it automatically stops them. So if you can hit multiple people with them, it helps protect the tribute from getting captured by them. And then I also use his shock and awe as his ultimate for his send a straight laser beam to it just in case I'm not close enough to it to do anything. That way I can at least disrupt them trying to take the tribute for a little bit longer to get my team over there.
You kind of the delay tactic. You delay them so your team can get there, you can kind of clean them up. Plus they take a good chunk of damage at that point because of it being an ultimate.
Exactly, and I think's powerful. If you're like a quarter of health, you're probably going to die.
Now, Ben Uther, he's a great support. What way does he work out well in this map?
I like to play Uther extremely aggressive. Now, I'm always, of course, supporting teammates no matter what, but I play him extremely aggressive on Curse of Hollow. I'm using Holy Radiance as an offensive ability to keep people off the tribute. I'm always taking Divine Storm, and if I can, I'm almost essentially trying to bait my team a little bit, trying to get somebody else to initiate, to pull the enemy team in on top of the curse. If we can let them think for a moment that they have dominance and they start to click the tribute, I jump in right on top of them, pop Divine Storm, and stun the entire team, and let my team crash in on top of them, and then stun the next primary target with my hammer. And of course, just trying to, if I'm by myself, I'm always trying to just run in circles around the tribute, like a little bit on the outside perimeter, throw my Holy Radiance at somebody who tries to touch it, or stun them, and do whatever I can to be the most annoying person possible to prevent them from getting the tribute.
Yeah, as everyone knows, Gazo is one of my favorite heroes in the game. In this map, you can really build a nice, strong mercenary killer Gazlo, and it works really well because you have 2 grave golems that you can take. And Gazo is maybe the only one in the game who can really solo these golems pretty quickly, and really take advantage of that. With him, I always take Robo Goblin in this map. I never take the Graviton Bomb. Because you want to be able to really take down structures and minions quickly. When you get 3 tributes and the curse is active, you want to make sure that you've already done your minions, mercenaries, and then go right after structures. Because once you pop your Robo Goblin, you're doing so much damage to these structures, and they're not attacking back. You're able to just kind of burn through them real quick. Kind of a few things in terms of levels when you're working the mercenary build is at level 4 you should start taking siege giants. Always recommend taking the enemy siege giants first. The reason for this is they're going to actually go in behind the enemy lines and work on the second set of towers, and then you can go back and take your siege giants. Where if you do it opposite, they're going to see you took siege giants and they're going to take theirs immediately because they know you're going to start working the way around. At level 16 is when you for 100% sure can solo the great golems. So you want to be doing that right at level 16. Right around level 10 you can solo the night camps, and if you get like one other person, maybe an assassin or maybe a warrior too, to soak up some damage, you can work together to take down a grave golem with just 2 people. So it's really strong just to go after mercenary camps, and if you're putting those mercenary camps out there, you're keeping the enemy away from the tribute. So it's almost it also helps you get the tributes. Mercenary camps are super strong in this map just because there's so many of them. I recommend it immensely, just going with that type of a build. We'll go back to David. Sergeant Hammer, what do you do with Hammer?
Well, Hammer, I think the thing with Hammer, I mean, obviously, during the cursed times, make the most of Hammer. Don't start hunting heroes. Just plow down everything. Just try and really push that lane as much as possible. The biggest issues with Hammer is going into siege mode during the tribute fights. Not really recommended unless you've got some of the buffs that increase your range. I do sometimes, depending on the position of the tribute, like kind of just like staying near the mercs actually, or even among the mercs, and basically ensuring that at least if they take a hit on us, it's going to probably hit the mercs first and activate them on the and get them into the fight. That I'll do that sometimes, but it's really just make sure that you're mobile enough to get out, because if the team fight goes bad and you're stuck in siege mode, you got lots of issues. So it's basically just really being very being very judicious in terms of how you use it.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say kind of push the lane when the curse starts, do you tend to go? Because a lot of times people will kind of group up and then go after a lane. Do you kind of go after a lane of your own, or do you kind of go with the group?
I'll go on a lane on my own, and pretty much maximize, because he's pretty solid in terms of laning on their own, and you're really almost in group fights sometimes a liability because so much is going on and you've got somewhat limited mobility, and you really can't even go into siege mode. So sometimes you can kind of sneak around and really do damage to a lane, and then all of a sudden they're fighting on multiple fronts, and you're really maximizing the amount of damage that you're doing during that time.
Okay, Bullet, you're kind of a Nova player. What do you do with Nova?
Honestly, I like griefing at the tribute. It's you stay back and you wait because you have one of the best distances. As soon as someone clicks, if no one else is there, you can pop them and it stops them from collecting, and then you can hide again and just keep doing that till your team can show up. Also, I like Envenom a lot in any character, but especially in this because if there's a big team fight, the healer can't always pay attention to three people who are taking damage. So if you see that someone's life's getting low and you throw Envenom on it, either the healer has to focus mainly on them, or they have to run out, which gives you one less person either way. And if they die, that's even better because they're still taking damage even while they're running away if you can't hit them. But she's really good at just keeping that distance and making sure someone can't click that tribute and cap it because they have to run to stop you otherwise. So you have an easier way to stop multiple people at once.
Now, what do you recommend in terms of like a heroic ability for Nova?
It really depends on how the other team's playing. If they're bunching up a lot, the precision strike's great because you can hit all of them at once. But if you have that one hero who's basically being the hero of the team, triple tap will easily take out their life and make them have to run and have to have the extra help. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on the team you're playing because there's really no this is the best one for all the time. It's just a really case by case for her ultimates in any map.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing too with this map is like the timing of when everybody gets their ultimates is so key, and making sure that the timing's good, because you could be there and you could even be winning a battle and all of a sudden just because they've hit level 10, all of a sudden it's an Ultralisk.
It's an Ultralisk. It's a precision strike. It's a big bullet coming. You can go from winning in about having that tribute cap to all of a sudden all 5 of you are dead and they're just laughing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so that's another thing. If you're 9 and they're 10, don't go for the tribute. Try to soak up some XP. another little hint. Josh, Arthas. I know we've talked about him being weak before. What are your thoughts on his strength in this map?
He could be good at getting in there. I like to build him with the first thing I do. I take Path of Warrior, so he continues getting health each level, and then I build up the Frostmourne Hungers to increase damage and also to slow down the targets. That way, it's harder for them to get away, and your team can jump on them. Mm-hmm. And then I take Syndergosa as well. So if I'm not right there to where I can attack, I can unleash Syndergosa, stopping the tribute from getting captured and also freezing the enemies, so we can try taking them down one by one if it's need to be that case. But I build up a lot of the slower frost stuff with him, and like I said, the first thing I take is to get him more health per level, and then I just build up the slow abilities that he has.
No, Ben, you talked about Tychus a little bit earlier when we were talking about the cloaking and how to help him here. So, you're really good with Tychus. What do you do in Cursed Hollow?
I can't be as annoying as I can be with Uther just because my range is shorter. But I still try to play with that mentality. More so, I'll try to hug on to another teammate. If I see anybody try to go for the tribute at all, I'm instantly engaging the Gatling gun and I'm going right in there and just trying to mow them down and stay right on top of them and not let them escape by using the grenade and my dash ability as well. I do not take Odin, actually. I take the laser. There are, in most of the areas where the tribute drops, there's a rock formation by it. You can drop the laser. If you get a team to engage on top of the tribute, you can drop the laser on the other side of the rock, which gives it a buffer from melee champions, and it will still engage targets across the rock. So it's kind of like a harass weapon, or it helps fight down the team fight and kind of get it going a little bit. But I take the vampiric ability and the talent where if you're attacking for 3 seconds, you gain an additional attack speed, and then I can sit there and I can't really tank, but I can tank a little bit. So I can sit in a more engaged fight and possibly rack up like a 3K and then kind of take the tribute.
So last is mine for his Tyrael, and with Tyrael, your regular build, however you like to play Tyrael, works pretty much perfectly. You don't have to kind of change up your Tyrael play on a regular. Now, depending on how the other team is playing, that is when you kind of have to decide for ultimates. I don't use in any other map Tyrael's Sanctification ultimate. And I would only use it in this map is if you find that every time you're going to get a tribute, the other team barely gets them, you have like a half a second for your teammate to get in there, hitting them right at that point. Sanctification works really well because it makes everybody in an area invulnerable. So it'll actually stop the damage from going through, which means for that 3 seconds that you're channeling it, you're able to actually channel and pick up the tribute. So that actually works really well. If you find that, come to level 10, they're not really stopping you, they're not there with just a little bit of time left, then I recommend going with the regular Judgment build, because that'll actually help you get to tributes a little faster, because you can run in and stun and knock people away. If they're being very aggressive on top of the tribute, I recommend Judgment as well, because you can charge in without them realizing it, knock them away and delay. Kind of that same kind of delay function we kind of talked about. Sanctification does help a little bit more too, in terms of if your whole team's on top of the tribute and you cast it, your whole team's 3 seconds, as long as 3 seconds of invulnerability, as long as you don't die. So you just have to make sure you're putting yourself in the right position. Any final thoughts on Cursed Hollow before we close it out tonight?
It's a good map and people shouldn't be haters.
Yeah, it's funny. The more I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I actually do. I'm starting to. I like it more now than I did before, especially because of the change where you're not getting half the health of your tower being taken down. I think that changed my thoughts on it a lot. But I haven't gotten a lot lately, other than last week. So that'll do it for episode number 30. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Thanks, Bullet, for being a guest this week. Bullet, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, how they can contact you?
Easiest way to contact me is on Twitter, BulletCatcher02, or email me, BulletCatcher02@gmail. Like I said, I'm trying to convince Adam to get his other podcast up and running again, so hopefully that'll be up. We're thinking soon, but that's Blizzard soon, so who knows?
Josh, where people find you?
Find me right here. Every Friday night at 10 p.m.
Except for
Eastern
last week on
Standard
Sunday.
Time. Well, I said Friday. You can find me on Twitter at Pakawan_AIE. It's spelled PAKKUAN, then underscore, then AIE. Just find me on there. Give me a tweet. If you want my battle tag, tweet me. I'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. But that's about it.
Ben, I know you're in Texas, but where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Stacks and Packs. It's STAKSNPAKS. Just hit me up on there. Throw me a message if you want to play Heroes or anything like that, or just want to shoot the crap. And that's pretty much it.
And last but not least, David, where can people find you?
You find me on Twitter at BerlanCTR. That's with 2 L's, 2 A's. Also, after Adam was framed for poisoning the king, I've been asked to be his champion in Trial by Combat tomorrow night, and I'll let Adam maybe tell a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what David's basically saying is we're with Catalyst Gaming Media. We're going to actually putting together some esports Saturday nights where we're going to see some people play some Hearthstone now, maybe some WoW PvP, StarCraft, and Heroes in the future. Tomorrow night at 11 o'clock, David is going to be playing against Ro from Realm Maintenance in a best-of-5 matchup. Wish us luck. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. Tomorrow's kind of what I've called our technical alpha of the setup. I thought there was going to be something really easy to do with XSplit. However, Twitch makes it more difficult than I anticipated. So we're going to be trying it out. So come tomorrow, we're going to be at twitch.tv/World of Podcast, because it's actually part of the kind of our lead up to World of Podcast, which we're going to be a part of once we do get to BlizzCon. It's going to, for those of you who haven't heard, it's going to be in the Hilton on Thursday night, so we'll mostly all be there, and they're kind of having a great time. You can reach me on Twitter at Geek of Random, the show directly at the Nexus Podcast. Please send us your questions. You know, if you have any questions about the Cursed Hollow and really any map, we'll answer some questions even before we go through the battle reports on them. Let us know at show@heroesofthenexus.com. For those of you who are listening, come join us every Friday night at 10 Eastern at twitch.tv/Heroes of the Nexus, where we record live. You know, it's fun. Come be in the chat room, talk to other Heroes players. I don't know what else to say. It's a great time.
People who want to play Heroes.
Yeah, and we have people who want to play Heroes. So if you're having a hard time finding someone who plays Heroes, you know, you might be able to come to our chat room and kind of exchange battle tags. Who knows? We have a Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/thenexus to kind of figure all that stuff out. I want to thank you for coming, listening, whatever you do to listen to us, and have yourselves a great weekend. We will see you all in the Nexus.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
David, you know
Thank
you're
you for
facing the
shopping at
mountainous
Costco.
row, right?
We'll see you around. Goodbye. And stop.
Yeah. I was listening to last week's episode, and at the end you were talking about where the locations of the stuff is at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically it's all within the same area. Say this is where the convention center is. Here's the Hilton and the Marriott. So it's like a triangle. So it's like right in walking distance. You don't have to cross no roads, nothing. It's all in one big walkway.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's so convenient.
There's going to be a ton of nerds not wearing deodorant.
It didn't smell bad last year.
I'm going to be one of those nerds. No, I'm just kidding.
But in between the hotels, they have food trucks.
Really?
Yeah.
I love food trucks.
I was expecting
I
more
eat
to
it
that
almost
sense.
every day.
There was this awesome breakfast burrito place that they had, like one of the food trucks, like on Saturday morning. So on the way to the BlizzCon, I stopped and got like this big old burrito. It had eggs, ham, and or not ham, bacon and potatoes in it. It was so good.
Then he crapped his pants.
Yeah.
There's no deodorant that's going to save you from that.
Surprisingly, I was expecting it to smell really bad. I didn't think it smelled bad at all. I think it's because of how big the convention center actually is.
They air it out well.
It has a very high ceiling.
And the stench.
All the stench goes up.
There stench.
Yeah.
Ben is just shaking his head.
Well, as long as I don't have to bring my military gas mask, I'm fine.
You'll be good.
You
You'll be
just
good.
bring it for the fun of it, and then enter the costume contest and be like, "I'm protecting myself from the nerds."
But then again, I don't want to declare it in my checked bag when I get on the aircraft because they're going to give me weird looks.
They're like, "What are you planning?"
I'm going to a convention with a bunch of nerds. Never mind. Enough said.
Be like, "Do you need another one? We have an extra one that we compensated from some guy."
Dude, the other day when I was getting on an aircraft, you know, every time I go through the line, I show my DOD ID. And it was like, all right, step this way, sir. So I went through the TSA pre-check line. But right before I got to the thing, dude swabbed my hands for explosives material.
Yikes.
Really?
I'm like, So that was a first for me. Out of all the airports I've been through and all the planes I've been on, that was the first time it's ever happened. I'm like, the fuck is this?
Did you
We
did you question him like really?
if I remember right, when we were going to our honeymoon, me and my wife, they let me just go through just fine, and then they like really like double checked her stuff. Or what? Didn't they put you through that machine, Karen? Yeah, they put her through that like machine. So here it is, you know. Yeah, she was wearing like a summer dress and you know, looked like a normal person, you know, and like you
So
know,
what's it saying
Look
about
like
you?
a
You didn't
normal
look normal?
person.
well, you know, I am, you know, 6 foot, like at the time probably like 290, 300, and she's like 5'1" and small. It's like, who is more likely to cause a problem? Like, you can pretty much see everything that she has on her. Like, she was in a dress. Like, she's not hiding much. Yeah, they wanted extra time with her, she thinks. But, anyways, we digress. I want to thank the chat room again for coming. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. I think that's about it. We're going to take off. Everyone have yourselves a great night.
Night, chat room.
Good night, everyone.
See ya.